We are live. This is the market update. Ceasefire or no ceasefire edition. I'm your host, Bill Noble. You want the 1 minute market update? I'll give it to you. We don't care anymore about what goes on over there. We don't. I'll explain it to you. And the great part for crypto is it's about to be a glaring display of sovereign ineptitude. Glaring, right? Especially on our end. It's going to be embarrassing, and Bitcoin is just going to go whoosh. Now, the good news about whatever we got going on this morning, which we will go over, is that it creates hesitation. The market climbs the wall of worry, right? You're watching this market overnight. It's like, oh, we're up. It's up. It's great. Oh, no, it's not. But then it doesn't go down. And then it's like a windshield wiper. Okay. And eventually someone's going to go, oh, you know what? Please. This is like, any other Middle East situation where they throw rocks at each other, and I actually have an idea about how this is going to get resolved because there is going to be an end resolution. I'll give you my prediction, but we'll go over this first. Let's welcome who's here. We have Ben from Down Under, Zapadas, MJ Hits. What's up? Roby. World Liberty portfolio current situation. All right. Well, we may have to dig that up this stream or next. We have Miguel, Tyler, Blown Ideas, Yav is here, and of course, the original SGSG. Okay. Let's do it. Okay. So the ceasefire is now in effect. Yeah, Twitter is amazing, right? Like Twitter, because I tweeted it, it is so. Okay. Breaking news, regime change is underway in Iran. And of course it is, right? Because what the army is going to do, and they're going to be like, you know what? We have houses and families. We're patriotic. We do not want to get blown up over the ideology of an 86-year-old guy. So they're on the phone directly with the orange man going, hey, that's enough. We're done. Okay. Keep the country intact. Keep the army intact. This is the mistake we made in Iraq by not having the army be in charge, which led to total chaos. The army and the leader. Yeah. Okay. They all follow the same like ideological thinking blueprint, but rulers want to stay in power. Soldiers want to serve their country and live. Okay. So regime change is underway, and that's good, right? It's good for the Iranians. It's good for us. Who's it not good for? Supposedly. We'll go over that. Oh, look. They hit the Iranians again. Even after the orange man said, knock it off. What is the objective of these individuals? Well, one, it's obviously to continue the conflict, obviously, right? Two, it's probably to degrade that country as much as possible, including harming the armed forces who would run the country. So if they're still shooting at them, they're not shooting at the leadership, they're shooting at the people who would run the country. So it stands to reason that if they're not listening, they must have another objective. Right? Now, is that going to be tolerated? I'm going to tell you how it's going to turn out. So do not drop bombs. This is a major violation. So I like Twitter. It's like that. You guys probably didn't have this, but we used to have like a loudspeaker system in school, the PA. Somebody would come over the PA, say, coming over the PA, children, stop fighting. It's not happening. It's not happening. If one party wants to destroy the other party, that's what's happening. Now, we have two countries that have been fighting, and, they don't know what they're doing. Okay, so let me just explain this to you how this is going to end. Right? They're going to declare a no-fly zone over Iraq and Iran, and we're going to enforce it. That's the only way that this stops. We got 3 aircraft carriers out there. So we're going to have patrols. We're going to patrol the skies, shut down Middle East airspace, and that will be it. That's why the other party just is continuing, because, there's another reason too, because that leader is going to have a problem if the conflict stops. He's going to have a domestic issue. They don't want to stop, which is why the market is not reacting to this, right? This is just, it's serious, but it doesn't affect markets. They're not going to take out the oil. They're not going to do anything like that. They're just going to do everything they can to continue the conflict until the orange man puts jets in the sky and declares a no-fly zone. And let's, the Iranians do some sort of transfer of power. This is now a a non-event as far as I'm concerned. Now, the good news is it does create like a wall of worry, which is also wonderful, because that just makes the eventual bottom bigger. Okay, so a stablecoin bill would allow anybody to issue fully backed dollars. Wow, this is amazing. You mean Uncle Sugar's going to let everybody buy treasuries and then use that as collateral to issue money? Wow, that's going to put a lot of money in circulation, right? The Fed is the only entity right now that can create money. Now, anybody who buys government debt can create money. So, you need to create $1 trillion? No problem. Uncle Sugar's got $1 trillion for you right here. Here we go. Fresh off the press, baby. Government debt. All that's headed for crypto. All this stuff is going to get dumped for Bitcoin, ETH, or it's going to have to travel on ETH or a layer 2 or whatever. STX, Matic, Optimism, Arbitrum. Anybody remember this stuff? Solana, XRP Ledger. They're selling it $2 yesterday. Anybody with treasuries is going to be able to create money. Okay, so Tether, which has been totally left out of this, and they make more money than BlackRock, and is a classic case of the more gravy in the kitchen, the more dogs at the door. So if you have 50 employees and you make more money than BlackRock, eventually someone's going to be like, hey, we need to get in on this, and you're going to have competition, which they now have. They have Circle, right? And then they're going to have XRP's coin, and they're going to have Elon coin, and then somebody will FOMO in and take over Ripple, right? That's going to be the big FOMO trade. It's not XRP. It's when somebody comes in and takes over Ripple and takes all of that supply that they have off the market, right? They won't have to buy treasuries against their position. They'll have XRP. Somebody may want that. I just think that's really interesting that the only trade anyone's doing is Circle, and that's absolutely ridiculous. Okay, so see, Doomberg gets the embarrassing headline out right away, right? Stop it. Now, they don't want to stop it. They don't. They started it. They donated $200 million to the Orange Man's campaign. It's just a very neutral, fact-based thing. I knew they didn't want to stop it, but they just continued. Again, it makes the sovereigns look bad. Okay, layoffs from tariffs. Rumor has it we're paying an extra $2,000 per automobile. I guess people can be okay with that as long as it winds up, in the sovereign wealth fund buying Bitcoin. Okay, so everybody is stealing everybody's people and customers. Fueling partners' rivalry. I thought everything was all gravy and sunshine over there at AI and Legacy Land. You boys having a little problem over there? Oh, I think so. I think we have men behaving badly over there. Yeah, I think I want to be invested in a decentralized universe. Thank you very much. Okay, so influencer cursing everyone off, right? I told you not to listen about World War III, right? Ceasefire hits, strong bounce. Right, multi-billion-dollar coins, Tau, Solana, ETH, KTA. Stay off the timeline. Stay off the timeline. The right is like they're trying to eat each other on the American political right there. They were attacking people who sounded like they were doing administration talking points. You know what I'm saying? The propaganda is everywhere. It's sovereigns behaving badly. Now, crypto people, Talk about max fear, right? 12-day war, just like the Cuban Missile Crisis. At least the fear part of it anyway. So we're 60% bearish, then we're 42% bearish. Now we're back to 65 bullish, 42 bullish, 65 bullish. Thank you for shopping. Michael Saylor gets all his Bitcoin. All the speculators get wiped out. Frankly, it's predictable. It's very predictable. Okay, Circle market cap, $63 billion. 63 billion and counting, I guess. Amazing. Okay, stock guys headed for the door. Stock guys and gals, ARK Investments. This has been a fantastic trade. Thank you for giving me a 10x. It's always been my dream to do this in tech. Normally it goes down 90% on Kathy, but she bought the low, she sold the high. The entire planet, Mike is buying Bitcoin and everyone else buying Circle. Folks, you got an ecosystem that's been left on the curb. I mean, you know the Orange Man's group was buying it yesterday, right? It's like, oh, here comes the attack. Oh, the attack didn't work. Oh, ceasefire. Right? They needed, Orange Man, World Liberty needed one more shot at 100K. Give me that 99K Bitcoin. Remember when that was resistance? Remember when it was like, oh my God, it's never going to get above 100K. Oh my God, all the whales are selling at 100K. They're leaving. Now 99 is it's a joke. You look at it and go, oh, how cute. Michael Saylor to offer his company Bitcoin credit model with Orange Man Director of Housing to push Bitcoin qualified mortgage lending. Yeah, because nobody can qualify to buy a house. Nobody can buy a house, right? The only way anybody's ever going to buy a house, honestly, not with your salary, you're going to have investments. And what investment is there in Michael Saylor's mind? Okay. Crypto leaving exchanges. It's almost like this number is meaningless because I think all these deals are getting done on over-the-counter products, right? But yeah, the general public is not going to get their hands on Bitcoin in 12 months. It's not. Okay, so the market goes up and the M2 graph is back. And I would take the M2 graph seriously. I actually asked Perplexity, what language would Powell have to use? Because Powell's going to pivot hard, right? The deep state got exactly what they wanted in the Middle East. And you're going to be shocked. He's going to go, you know what? I've changed my mind. Watch. Right? He wasn't cooperating. And now that's the only place on earth where the Orange Man is actually going to get cooperation without putting our jets in the sky. Bitcoin ETF recorded inflows of 116K Bitcoin last week. Notice Glassnode tracking the Bitcoin ETF. Things must be boring in crypto if the crypto analytics firm has to track the ETF. On-chain activity in ETH. I mean, this is going to be off the charts, man. A couple guys were like, this guy, the trading community, they're like, I am so done shorting this thing. Done. We got we got one last, leverage trade as BlackRock flushed everybody out, made you think it looks terrible, which is the hallmark of a bottom. And then all the stable coins hit all at once. Okay. I don't know what this means because I'm not really an emoji guy. But somebody who helped Ripple is back on Twitter, I guess. Circle is worth $63 billion. Billion. And can you imagine if Tether went public? I mean, it's just huge. This mega fund is shorting $200 million of Bitcoin. Right. As a hedge against probably some other giant position that they can't find. Who knows? I mean, this could be Michael Saylor's war hedge. You don't know. Michael Saylor just doesn't sit there organically long everything. He's got a team that protects the company. They can't get liquidated. I'm just saying, right? These analytics firm goes, oh, we got James Wynn. He lost 100 million. No, he didn't. Right? It's just, misdirection. Jupiter. I like this. This is kind of catchy. slowly, then all at once, right? Solana DEX, right? Solana Summer, altcoins, right? Where's Bitcoin going? Back to the premium zone at 110? Where's it going? I mean, it's going to go higher, right? Slowly, right? But what can really start moving, right? Well, everyone's doing Strait of Hormuz. The first tweet I saw today, some guy's like, the Strait of Hormuz is where all your oil came from. Stay hedged. Don't get bullish. I'm like, I didn't even reply. I'm like, you know what? I'm happy that you're still out there. Thank goodness. So I can continue to tell everybody that that doesn't matter, right? Like the Iranian military is trying to preserve the Strait of Hormuz, not block it. How do you think they're going to run the country? With oil money. Okay, so Bitcoin was going to 92 yesterday. Now it's going to 120. Right? It's a stampede. Ethereum developer proposes 6-second block times to boost speed / fees. Cool. See, they got the narrative right. They're getting there, right? They got it off the lows. Now they just got to keep the narrative going until BlackRock and the entire planet shows up for stablecoins. Because I don't know how anybody thinks they're moving stablecoins. I mean, what everyone's gonna build their own layer one when you got layer ones that have been out there for years. And we know that, Solana, like, XRP, not XRP Ledger, but we know XRP can hold up and move fast. We know the Solana blockchain's been through a lot. We know the ETH layer 2 network is epic. We know these things, right? Okay. So, you know what? Yeah, I forgot that Bitcoin is set for the biggest mining difficulty drop since July of 2021. And I'm like, I remember the days when I would have to not know about this or ask somebody. So here's the new somebody. It's a short-term bullish catalyst because the difficulty drop triggered by the reduction in the hash rate eases mining pressure. And mining companies immediately get more money, which I'm sure is factored into forecasts, right? But see if I got that right. Breaking from the Eagle King, right? See what we got here. Long-term holder spending shows minimal spending for the first time since June 10th. With long-term holder supply near all-time highs, it signals continued conviction. Right? Nobody will distribute their Bitcoin. They're not selling. They're not selling, and now miners don't have to sell. Because again, that's another source of Bitcoin for Michael Saylor. Miners have to sell to keep the operation going. Miners don't have to sell in the market. They just do a transfer over to Mike. The miners don't have to sell anymore as of temporarily. I can't believe it. How does it look any better than this? Everyone's negative. Everyone's looking at news that doesn't matter, right? We know that everybody over there is not a good actor. People are trying to surrender. It's messy. It's great. It's perfect. Sovereigns working in your interest. Why are we over there again? We're about to enter the golden age of crypto, says a Bitcoin magazine. Regulation breeds stability, and stability fuels capital flows. With the Genius Act, Washington sent its strongest signal yet. Meanwhile, we're all selling. We're going to get everything we want. We're going to get the sovereign wealth fund. We're going to get all this stuff. I don't know about the strategic reserve, but you're going to get a legal validation of crypto. The more embarrassing it is over there, the more crypto stuff you're going to get over here, right? He may pivot. He may just leave them there shooting at each other while he pivots back over to crypto. Turns the aircraft carriers around and sends them home. Declare victory and leave, literally. Like we did it in Iraq and had to go back. That's what everyone wanted. I don't think the orange man wants that. I don't know if he has a choice. Okay, so this is what people were posting, right? That, it's like, hey, I just got knocked on the floor, and I'm hoping for better times. I mean, is this for real after this bottom that occurred yesterday? You got to be kidding me. Okay, so ETH on a daily chart goes down to a Luxalgo supports level and goes bounce up. And then it hits a Luxalgo resistance level and it hangs out. But, you know, if they want to drop the market, they're standing down there waiting to take it from you, literally. I mean, Solana hits a big GAN line. Solana's been kind of bouncing down this GAN line, unfortunately, but I mean, Solana has been at this level for quite a while. And if you start running $1 trillion in stablecoins on Solana, it's probably going to go up, right? There's a big GAN line at 100K. They went down there twice, right? And then, you know, partner of mine uses a term, wobble, right? If it just wobbles and everyone sits here wondering, oh my God, does the geopolitical news matter? Well, first they're going to be like, well, is it bullish or bearish? They haven't figured that out yet, that it doesn't matter anymore, that it's absolutely over. It was over a day before the Orange Man announced it. They just had to do the final volatility gymnastics. Crazy. Antivirus. Man, I'm hoping this is some sort of bottoming pattern. I mean, this is Janice McAfee talking about, you know, how she's not too happy. John McAfee passed under suspicious circumstances 4 years ago, yesterday, right? And, you know, there's a reason why you fight for privacy. There's a reason why McAfee's not around anymore. And there's a reason why his widow is so sad, which is why I'm never going to get off this, right? The spirit of this, I got to stay with it. You got to, because just like Michael Saylor with Bitcoin, eventually this thing's going to be right about privacy, right? When you pass through Palantir's facial recognition system, you know, at the grocery store, not the airport, the grocery store. We're going to be right about this. And we're going to have fun doing it. That's the most important thing. We're going to have fun doing it. Okay, DeMark TA. So ETH on a 4-hour chart. So you got a 9 bottom. That should be it. That should be it. You got a 9 bottom and a beautiful turnaround on the daily chart. Like this looked like the bear trend was going to restart. And this is kind of what I was hoping for, right? Everyone negative and boom, it goes the other way. It goes the other way. Like XRP. They washed out 62% retracement of the last run up. Thank you. Run the stops 1, 2, 3 times. Is anyone left? Probably not. Probably not. And then we went back to this yesterday. That XRP told the tale, right? Here's your 13 bottom. Here's your 9 bottom. Here's everyone's afraid there's going to be a top. I'm sorry. Everybody's afraid that the rally's going to fail. They actually made them think that. And then it just reverses hard. 214 is support now. Solana, you know, perfectly formed 9 bottom. They were itching to get a hold of Solana before the 9 bottom hit. You know, you appear to have avoided the failed rally. And this thing is not great for trend lines, but if you draw it this way, I connected this and this. You see these false attempts to get through and then it fails. Looks like they got through. I don't know. I mean, how can you look at this and then watch TV and watch the news. I'm like, okay, well, here was the whole disaster, and they unwound it in an afternoon while giving you this wick. Whew, harsh, right? Like Bitcoin on a daily chart, like everything is fine. Everything is neutral. Everything could start the other way. And if you look at the 4-hour chart of Bitcoin, like this was a selling climax. Like it was supposed to be over at 104, but they had to take it to 106 and then drop it. And who did that? The market makers, the guys who sell to Michael Saylor and BlackRock and whoever. You know, they leveraged seemingly negative news fueled by misdirection and hysteria. And there, you can't let yourself get distracted. It's that simple. I mean, it's like I spent half the night going down like a deep in rabbit hole. It's like, okay, what's next, right? There's like 3 sectors that are probably going to do well, right? What's next, right? Everyone's not paying attention. I mean, some of this stuff was up 15% off the low because it was destroyed. Some coins were down like, 40 or 50% in like 2 weeks off the Cuban Missile Crisis Part 2. That's over. Got a coin you like? They're gonna trade the ceasefire thing. Great, let them. They can do that. It'll show you how great sovereigns are and why you got to get outside the system. And they're going to continue to give you dips, right? When the market goes straight up, everyone's like, well, Bill, when's the dip? Okay, I'll spare you asking the question. The dip is now, right? They give you a dip, take advantage of it. The big dip was 2 days ago, but if you didn't want to do that, that's fine. That was super scary. I get that. But now when they give you a dip, now you got to take advantage, even if it's scary. Okay, that is the market update for today. We will see you tomorrow.